Hi, this is Jake. Today I'm going to be discussing the advanced debugging features of the new SCION SCXML Developer Tools. So, I'm going to start a new project, create a directory, call it temp8, and initialize a new npm package, package.json, and install SCION SCXML debug package. And while that's installing, I'm going to initialize a new index.html file, index.js file, and index.scxml file. And I'm going to add some scripts to the index.scxml file, and I'll show how it's possible to use Chrome DevTools to the Chrome DevTools JavaScript debugger to go in and debug the scripts inside of the SCXML file using the SCION SCXML debug package. So I'm just going to create a parent state here. And add an inline script, or target list transition on events T1 or T2. And an inline script, which increments a counter called X every time that event happens. Create a data model with variable X, initialize to 0. Then add some conditions on the transitions between A and B, so that if on transition from A to B, if X is even, then we take the transition. And on the transition from B to A, if X is odd, then we take the transition. So this is a trivial example. It's kind of a toy example, but it'll demonstrate nicely how to use these advanced debugging tools. So let's open up index.js and index.html. The installation is completed. And let's create a new Chrome window. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how this works in the browser, and then demonstrate how it works in Node. So, just initializing this HTML file, create a script tag, read out of the Node modules directory, SCION SCXML, debug package, dist, scxml.debug.js. Oops. Ah, there it is. Source equals. Okay, good. And let's make another script source pointed to index.js. All right. And so in index.js, we should have window.scxml available, provided by the SCXML debug package. So the SCION SCXML debug package is a drop-in replacement for the SCXML package, which is the SCION SCXML compiler. So in order to use this, let's go to the SCION page, homepage on GitHub, and just copy the quick start snippet of code here. Okay. Oops. that into the index.js file. And change these variables, index.scxml, model.prepare. This creates a new state chart instance, starts the state chart, sends it an event. Okay, great. So let's make sure that this is now working. Now we can use any server that we want in order to serve these files. I'm going to use the monitor server, which is built into SCION, so that I can, in addition to using the Chrome DevTools for debugging, I can also use the monitor, the built-in debug monitor tool in order to see events as they get passed to the SCION interpreter. So going to load up the user interface. Localhost 3978 serves out of the root directory. No such file or directory. That is because I started the monitor in the wrong directory. Let's go into temp8 project folder, start the monitor again. Refresh the page. Looks like there is an issue, and the issue is that we don't have the Babel polyfill loaded, which is something that we need in order to use SCION in the browser. Just one more package to install. Save dev Babel polyfill. To install that now. Good. Okay. Add one more script tag to our index.html page. ls node modules babel polyfill dist babel polyfill.js. Yes. Has to go before the SCXML file is loaded. Refresh the page, and we can see here the graphical representation in the monitor of what's happening in the browser. So we can see there was an event called T1. My video might be blocking this, so I'm just going to move it up here for a minute. There was an event called T1, and it didn't cause the state chart to transition because x is 1, and 1 is not an even number. So let's make it easier to work with this interactively. So let's just make the state chart instance available inside of the index.html file and create a simple user interface. Let's create some buttons. Let's say button to send T1, send T2, on click, sc.gen, T1, T2. Let's try this now. Refresh the page, send T1, doesn't seem to be sending the event. Let's see, on click, sc is available here, it's created here. Let's refresh this, refresh this. All right, refresh the page. Now if I send T1, we can see that the data model is changing when I send the event. And it's updating the state. And we can see the data model changing over here. So that shows the monitor in action. Now let's open the DevTools, Chrome DevTools, and see if we can debug the script as well. So you can see there are a couple of places. So index.scxml is available in the JavaScript debugger. And there are a couple of places where we can drop breakpoints. Here, here, here. Because this is a script, this is a script, this is a script. So if I hit send T1, then it breaks inside of the condition statement, the condition attribute JavaScript expression, x modulo 2. And you can see down, if you're familiar with the Chrome DevTools, you can inspect the data model inside of the scope viewer. So for example, here is x inside of the data model, which is 8. We can also look at the event and step through if we want to. Now we can see that we've hit the JavaScript statement inside of the script, the inline script. And if we step over it, then we can see that x is incremented from 8 to 9. So that's a simple example of how you can use the SCION SCXML debug package to enable the compiler to generate source maps, which allow you to debug JavaScript in the browser. And an example of how you can use the monitor in order to debug the SCXML visually using this inspector. So now, how do we use these technologies in order to use the Chrome DevTools to debug SCXML in Node.js? So I will provide an example of this. We can close out index.html, and I can repurpose this index.js file with just a couple of modifications so that I can run it inside of Node. So the first thing is I'm going to close out Chrome. Close the monitor for a moment. So first I'm going to just check that we're in a Node environment. So if type of require is not equal to undefined, then I'm going to require the SCXML debug module. And otherwise, if SCXML is defined globally, then like it would be in the browser, then we can just use that. All right. And we can just test that this is working. Actually, let me just grab a little snippet here, a snippet that I prepared to set up a REPL, a shell for testing testing the interpreter interactively. Okay. All right, let's try to start it. Okay. There's a typo there. Another typo. Perils of live coding. Okay, great. So that's working. So let's start the monitor again. And in order to use the monitor in Node.js, we have to provide an additional argument, which is this serve SCXML from root fs argument. And that's just so that the monitor knows where to fetch the SCXML from, because we're going to give it a path to an SCXML, and it has to know what that path is relative to. So now if we start it up, node index.js, okay, so our node process is communicating with the monitor, because we can see the visualization down here. And we have a simple shell right here where we can send it events. Send it T1, inspect the data model, T1 again, and we've successfully transitioned. T2. Yep. Okay, great. So how do we then use Chrome DevTools in order to debug this SCXML? So we just need to do node -- inspect, and that starts up the inspector, and then we can open Chrome again, and go to more tools, developer tools, and click this little Node.js debug button. And that will attach the Chrome DevTools to our Node.js process. And from here, we just do Command O, and there it is, index.scxml. And we can drop breakpoints in as we did before. And send it events, and it will break inside of the Node.js process, and we can use the inspector to inspect the data model and to step through our JavaScript code and debug the inline JavaScript code. So x is 0, step, x is 1. Great. Set watch variables in your data model. Anything at all. And that's it. So that's a simple example of how to use the SCION SCXML Developer Tools to debug your SCXML code using the monitor and Chrome DevTools. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to receiving your feedback.